Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to our session, how to integrate Akamai Media Client Solutions with AMP. I hope that your overall experience at the Edge conference has been very productive. Our goal today is to make sure that you still feel the same way at the end of the session. So let's hope that's the case. We are going to talk about some interesting topics. We even have some live coding presentations ready for you. So, and feel free to ask any questions at any moment. We'll be happy to address them. So, before we start, some quick introductions. I'm Jason Gamboa. I'll be Team Android today. I'll be helping out with the Android coding part. I work at the media development team. I'm one of the engineers in charge of the adaptive media player solution for Android. So, guys, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Okay, let me introduce myself. Welcome, everybody. So, I am Alaric, and I am a front-end developer in Akamai. So, I'm going to teach you how to implement our player in your web page. And that's it, yeah.
Great. My name is Miguel Lopez, and I work on the iOS and tvOS side. So, I'll be showing you how to integrate all of the features that we'll mention next in iOS.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Goals for the presentation. Today, we are going to teach you, or you're going to learn about AMP mostly, and its entire feature set. And on the more technical side, we're going to teach you how to add playback capabilities to a simple web page or an Android and iOS application. We'll also teach you how to integrate Akamai Media Client Solutions like mid acceleration, for example, and how to incorporate measurement and monetization features, which means analytics and advertisement. So, as the title of the session suggests, we are to talk about media client technologies, right? But what does that mean? What's our role? So, in the entire media delivery flow, this is a rough sketch of how it looks. We are not going to dive into each stage. We just wanted it to showcase where do we live, or where our media client technologies live, which is here at the egress to client consumption stage. That means that our purpose and our jobs is to make sure that all the content, the video content that it's being configured and created in the first two stages is consumed by the customers, ensuring the best experience possible, and at the same time providing easy to use and easy to integrate APIs for the developers in the current platforms that we support, which are anything that can open a website, pretty much Android and iOS applications, and TV platforms, tvOS, Android TV, Fire OS, and we have in our roadmap Roku as well. Now, to talk about AMP in specific, Miguel is going to take over. So,
okay, thank you, Jason, for that great introduction. Now let's discuss what AMP, or Adaptive Media Player, is. So we like to think of AMP as an ecosystem enabler for most of the popular media service providers that are in the market today. Some of the features that we have, of course, is basic playback with some other features such as closed captions, DRM, DVR, and now 360 and VR. We also have advanced delivery. I'm sure you've all seen this with the media acceleration and efficiency SDK. Measurement, so we all of course support Akamai, but we also offer third-party solutions such as Comscore, Nielsen, Adobe, New Relic, and others. And last, we also offer some monetization features with YoSpace, IMA, or Fribble. We will actually see YoSpace in this demo. Okay, now next is a live demo. Let's hope that it's not worthy of a Dilbert meme. It will be divided in two parts. The first one is basic playback, and then we will enhance its delivery using media acceleration and efficiency, the streams delivery. And last, we will show how to integrate YoSpace for monetization and Akamai Media Analytics for your measurement of your application.
Okay, thanks, Miguel. So, yeah, we're going to start doing the basic functionality of the player, which is just playback, basic playback. And then afterwards, we're going to implement the media acceleration feature, the one that Tom presented yesterday in the keynote, okay? So let me start enabling the player right here. But first thing first, I'm going to let you know that for this sample, we will need the basic player core or the library or the JS file, whatever that you want to call it. And for the SDKs, we will need the player core component. And of course, we're going to use any media source. It could be any format. It could be Dash, HLS, MP4, whatever. If you already are a Akamai client, you can take advantage of this playback by using your adaptive media delivery, your media services on live or on demand. And for the media acceleration stuff, we are going to use the library, the JS library. You will need of course, for the media acceleration, you will need the adaptive media delivery, the AMD. And as well for the SDK, we will need the right libraries. So let me start right here. Okay, I have a basic player. Sorry, I need to. Okay, this is cache. Okay, okay, this is an empty web page. Okay, as you can see, there's no player right here. So this is the HTML file, the page that you already saw. So what we need so far here, it's the player library. As you can see, the unpremiere JS file at the very beginning. And of course, we need to let him know where the player goes. And right here, I have the deep container. And this is where we are going to inject or create the player. Okay? So, okay. So we will need a basic config object. And we are going to let him know some options, like, for example, autoplay. And then we need to set a specific source. Okay, so let's say, let's play a simple HLS file. Okay, after doing that, you need to call the create statement. Okay, so it will be something like this. As you can see, we need to pass in the overload. We need to pass the player container, which is the edge player. It's the one that you can see right here, edge player, and the config object that we already did. And after doing that, you can see a cool React skin and the basic functionality. Playback, you can see options like, quality. You can change the quality, the bit rate to a better one. Yeah, you can go to full screen as well. This is the first part of the sample. So the second part, we're going to use the media acceleration plugin. Okay, so we need to override our HLS core or our playback processor by doing this. So we need to specify, as I mentioned before, we will need the MIE library. It's this one right here. You need to put this one right here, and you need to call the MIE property under the HLS option. And of course, we will need a specific source. So I have this Red Bull one. It's accelerated content, right? So let me show you the media acceleration working in AMP. So right now, you can see 4K content, better quality, loading faster. So let me actually show you what we have in the network tab. You can see the quick protocol, which is the one that media acceleration is using. Okay, and yeah, it's here. As you can see, the protocol under the tab, it's the quick one. So, and this is how we do media acceleration in web. So I'm going to switch back to Jason.
Thank you. So probably I'll share my screen. Okay, Android. This is a very basic Android Studio project. It doesn't have anything in it. As you can see, it's just a plain activity. So the idea is to include the functionality, the playback functionality in it. I have a couple of unused imports here. It's as we go along in the demo, we are going to be using them. So I didn't want to waste time including in syncing and building the project every time. So first, the first step, of course, is you need to include or you need to add the libraries into your project. So you have some binaries. We are going to be providing those eventually if you're interested in integrating the player, and just it's a matter of dropping it in your project, syncing, building. There you have it. You have the dependencies and the references of the libraries in your code available. Now the first step is you need to define the player view into your into your activity or a fragment, whatever. So I have one already here. The most important one is this one. It's called the video player container. It's the object that we use to link the player functionality to the view in which you want to include the actual video. So you just need to include this. The rest is just to lay it out a little bit better. And after that, if you just run that, you'll see an empty space at the top and at the bottom. At the top is where we are going to include the video eventually. So the next step would be to add we are going to create a couple of attributes, global attributes. This one is to instantiate the definition of in the XML that we already did. The second one, it's very important. It's actually, this is like the manager of the player. It actually holds the functionality of playback, and well, it's a progress bar for notification for buffering. Now, second step, it will be to instantiate the views. This is a regular process in Android, so it's how you normally would do that. Next, you'll need a callback. This callback is used in our player to prepare the media resource before actually starting the playback. So you can use it to eventually pass the reference of the player to other modules, so you can take advantage of the playback events. This is the actual callback that we have. So as you can see, we have 3 events. We're on the resource ready, on video player created, and on resource error for error handling. On video player created, notify us when the video player view object is already ready. It's ready to use. Sorry. At that point, we can pass it on to the rest of the modules, and we can take advantage of the playback events. And the on resource ready, it's that you just need to hit play. That's it. Now we need to pass that callback to the video player container like this. So the video player container can do the final step to start the playback, which it'll be called the prepare action. I'm passing here an HLS, a normal HLS video, and that's all you need. Something important is that your application needs to have internal permissions in the manifest on the project. So, but that's it, and there you have it. That's the playback, plain and simple. Now this is the regular delivery, right? Now, what if you want to accelerate content like Maverick already showed? It's a matter of, instead of calling the regular prepare resource, you just need to call the accelerated one. It's a static reference. You just call the prepare resource with the same HLS and pass the reference of our video to the component, and that's it. Just by replacing that line, you have media acceleration implemented in your application. It's that simple. And if you check out the logs of in here, you can see the original URL here, and you can see a local host, which is the implementation that media acceleration uses to start enhancing the delivery. And that's pretty much it. I'll switch now to Miguel. He's going to show you how to do the exact same thing on iOS.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jason. As you've seen from the past demos, the actual process is quite similar. First, we need to have like the frameworks here. These are the ones that we provide. Then the imports. This is so we can use the actual code from each framework. Now the first part is to create a variable, so you can actually use the main class from each framework. In the first case, for the basic playback, the main variable is actually the amp player. That's how I call it in iOS. We'd also need, of course, the stream URL. Okay. Now all we have to do is set up the amp player and actually start loading the stream. Let's see how we can achieve that. Awesome, this is the first part, the setup part. First, we need a reference to the main view that you want to use. This one can be any view. In this case, we're using the main view controller's view. This is all iOS specific. Then you need to set the license. And last, we are just setting the autoplay feature so we can start playing the stream as soon as it's loaded. All we have to do now is to start loading the stream and requesting it. So let's run the sample and let's see what happens. So as you saw, the integration part is standard, and this will be the same throughout the other modules. This is the simplicity that we get. There you go. We have basic playback. And so now, in the second part I will show you how to enhance its delivery using media acceleration. Again, as we said, it's quite standard, so let's create a variable for it. The main class here is called amp media acceleration, quite straightforward. Now let's instantiate it so we can start the media acceleration services. And since we want media acceleration to handle the loading of the stream, we will replace the original one with a media acceleration specific. Okay, now let's give it a try. Okay, awesome. As you saw, it loaded a bit faster, and in here we can see that the SDK, media acceleration SDK, started successfully. So this means that all of the stream handling was done by them and it was enhanced. Okay, now we will move to the second part of the demo now.
Yes, that will conclude the first part, which was playback and the acceleration. We are now moving to monetization measurement. In specific, we're going to display how to implement your space in our own Akamai analytics. So Maverick is going to start as we did in part one. So
okay,
take it over.
Thank you, Jason. So okay, for this part of the presentation, okay, here. So we're going to talk about something different here because YoSpace is not a Akamai product. Okay, this is a third-party ad vendor. So what is YoSpace? Basically, YoSpace it's a server-side ad insertion technology, and we are going to use this, and we are going to show you how easily it's to implement YoSpace in our player. And afterwards, we're going to show you how to implement another Akamai product, which is the media analytics one. So for this part of the presentation, we will need a YoSpace account. Okay, for the YoSpace one, we will need a YoSpace account and a YoSpace string because this is server-side ad insertion, so they provide a string, a HLS string for us. And of course, we will need the YoSpace library and the YoSpace component for the devices. And for the media analytics one, okay, the only that you need is the media analytics in your contract. Okay, you can go and talk with your accounting, and they're going to do everything for you. So this is the only that you need. Of course, you will need the media analytics library for the player and the media analytics component for the devices. So, okay, let's go back to my screen. So right now we have, okay, the basic playback, the media acceleration playback right here. So we are going to add some plugins here. So we're going to start doing the GeoSpace one. So we have a new plugin architecture where you can, it's a kind of modular, so you can add whatever plugins you want right under this plugin section. So let me create the GeoSpace one. So the only that you need is, as I mentioned before, the GeoSpace library and the GeoSpace component for web. And of course, you will need a specific media source. And this is a GeoSpace one. They are going to inject or serve ads into this string. So probably, I'm not sure if we are going to get some ads here. So let me reload the page. So you are going to see the Big Buck Bunny video, okay?
Yeah, this is a live stream. So we are injecting ads in the middle of it. So those are random, but well, they don't appear that often. So eventually, once you obtain that, we grab that data and we can obtain off-counter events and the vast data for each ad.
Yeah. It happens every 13 seconds, if I'm not wrong. So you will see an ad probably in 13 seconds. But in the meantime, I'm going to enable the media analytics plugin as well. So as I mentioned before, you will need to do everything under the plugins section. So let's start. I'm going to mute this just a little bit. Okay. So okay, right here we have the media analytics plugin, and we have the component right here, and under here the Akamai HTML5.min.js. It's the library that we'll need for the HTML5 layer. And right here, this beacon XML is provided by your account team, so you don't need to worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to save this. Okay, the dimensions, you can put the data that you want to track in your dashboard or monitor, okay? So for this sample, I'm going to put some dummy value like title, edge, okay, edge player, and that's it. So, okay, because it's analytics, you are not going to see something interesting here, but I can show you the network tab where the beacons are fired. So you see that this nine.give call, it's the Akamai beacons getting fired. So this is how we track the media information. So I'm going to switch back again to JSON in order to see how this works in Android. Hopefully, we can see some ads in the Android side. But right now, we are not getting ads.
It's a raffle. If you see an ad, you win a prize. No, just kidding. Okay, GeoSpace. I'll start with GeoSpace, as Maverick already did. All you need to do, Maverick did a great introduction. Well, what it is, it's a server-side insertion functionality. So we are going to create an object type GeoSpace component. This is going to be the object in charge of handling and those events and handling the metadata and all that. Now, we are going to create an instance of it. It receives the context of the activity or the view the ads are going to be displayed. The GeoSpace URL. This is the actual video source. As we said earlier, you need to configure something, so it's a separate URL that it needs to be injected with the metadata. Now, by instantiating this and passing this value to the GeoSpace component, the prepare action is being triggered automatically. So all you need to do is once the video player view object is ready, you just need to pass it on like this to the GeoSpace component. And at the end, we are going to take advantage of the activity lifecycle, so we can make sure that when the activity is going to start, we can start the component as well. And this should be triggering the events and all, so you can start the actual playback. There you have it. It's the same video. So, like we said, I mean, eventually the ads are going to appear and all. So, and one of the cool things is that since everything is being packaged under the same media source, you don't see any buffering when the ad ends and the actual content begins, because everything is being handled under the same video buffer internally in the player. So it looks smoother pretty much. Now let's leave it right there and see if we can see an actual ad. Moving on to media analytics. Sorry. All you need to do is this: 3 lines. 3 lines of code. First, you have a media analytics data object. This is an object that we use to pass on the parameters to the media analytics component. All you need to do is pass on, well, the only one that it's required is the first one, which is the beacon. This URL is going to be provided by your people, or your the people is configuring the media analytics for you, and that's all we need. Then you create just a new instance of this object called media analytics tracker. You pass the reference to the video player view. That's the reason why we are creating this on the video created callback, and that's pretty much it. If you want to add custom dimensions, you can do so as well. The media data object has also a method. It's called setMediaAnalytics data, which contains a map type object in which you can pass on the key and the value of the dimension that you want to pass on. And that's all you need. That's just by adding that, you have analytics integrated. And you can see here in the logs, you see this HTTP send beacon sent successfully. That means that analytics is on. And no ads. That's awesome. So let's see if Miguel has a better luck. So I'll be passing the torch to you.
Okay, well, thank you, Jason. Let's see how we can accomplish the same that we saw in the previous demos in iOS. So, okay, with YoSpace, same. Let's create a reference to its main object.
Oh, hopefully, yeah. As you can see, there are some ads.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, now, yeah, you won a prize. Okay, so first, it's called the AMP YoSpace Manager. That's the main class that you'll be using when integrating YoSpace with our player, with AMP. Now, YoSpace is a little bit different. You actually need 2 things. You need to supply some properties. They are YoSpace specific properties for now. This is the simple version, which is like a timeout. So it knows whether you should fall back to another stream or not. And also, we're giving it the debug parsing flag, so we can actually see some logs there. This is just a sample. And the other thing is we need to conform to a custom delegate. And let's add that now, okay. So it's called the AMP YoSpace Observer. This is how we can actually let you know whenever a YoSpace event comes to us, we delegate it to you. This way you can do pretty much whatever you need to. Okay. Now the last part that we need to do is, well, since we won't be using the handle, so we will actually use YoSpace. We need to instantiate it, and oh well, of course, we need a custom in stream, as my partners already explained. We will be using the same stream as they were. Now let's see if we get lucky with the ads. But yeah, as we mentioned already, it's live and it doesn't have many ads. Okay. So I'll actually leave it running there, and maybe while I integrate Me Analytics, maybe we can see something. Let's hope so, finger crossed. Okay, now Me Analytics is actually extremely simple, as you saw in the previous demos. First, again, a reference to the main class of the framework. It's the AMP Me Analytics Manager. And all we have to do is to instantiate it, which again, it receives a reference to the AMP player, so it can listen to the player's events, and it will do all the beaconing for you, so you don't have to set anything up. And you also give it the beacon URL. Same as with Android. If you want, you can pass a dictionary, but it's an optional parameter. So let's Okay, let's run the sample now, and let's see the. Okay, there we go. That's the buffering change event and the setting player event. So yeah, I guess that's it. We didn't get any ads, so yeah.
Okay. Oh, I actually. One sec. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. There's an ad. Yay! That's how you can see the ads, and that's actually a really good point. I mean, you saw when the ad ended and the video continued. I mean, it's seamlessly. You don't see any differences. And in the logs, you can see all the information that we can receive. Pretty much the same information you receive on client-side ads, you can receive the same for the server side. This is for JustBase. We also have support for Google DAI, which is their approach of server-side ad insertion. And cool. I would like to we would like to open up then for in case you have any questions. That will conclude the section the section for the live presentation so far of our demo. So if anybody has a question, go ahead. Yes.
Yep. Very interesting. When you did the first part of the presentation with the PC, including the media acceleration, I think HLS.js. So is this a special version of HLS.js from Akamai, or is this more or less official from?
Yeah, well, we basically use HLS.js for HLS playback in all browsers, right? Such like Chrome, Brave, Firefox, you know, it's a really cool library. But besides that, we are, the Akamai engineering team, it's doing an extra processor, which is the MIA HLS.js, I think it's the name. So basically, we are overriding the HLS processor with the MIE one. So that's the idea. Okay, and we are doing the same for the Dash, format.
Yeah. We are also at the media booth at the Developer Center, so if you have any follow-up questions, Frank and us, we can help you with it. Awesome. Anybody else? Yes?
Yep.
Yeah, that's an interesting process, yeah, because we need to receive a modified version of the HLS, but that's a job for the provider of the server-side ads feature, whether it is JustBase or Google in our case, which are the two we provide. That's actually having a question that people has made to us, and yeah, there's some configuration involved. In a way that, for example, IMA works, we just receive an ID, which is their own approach. We don't receive, we don't have the HLS directly, like in JustBase, and we need to communicate with their own integration, their own SDKs and all, to receive the modified HLS at the end, and that modified HLS, it passes through the edge servers. And we know that everything is under the same HLS, both the TS segments for the ads and the TS segments for the actual video.
Okay, to summarize, no, it's done by YoSpace. Yeah.
Yeah,
The staging it's done by YoSpace, actually.
exactly. The actual modification is made by the provider, whether it's JavaSpace or IMA.
Yeah. Yeah, one more question there.
How we take care of what? Geo restriction? I think we are not taking that into consideration. In which case will you need the? Oh. I see. The answer would be we're not sure. We'll have to look it up. I mean, we can do the research on it, that we can address it in the booth. Geo restriction, geolocation.
Well, so just to state a few things, everyone knows that we have Akamai has a partnership with GeoSpace now, right? And you can engage with GeoSpace now directly through our contract. And so that's why we're showing GeoSpace today, we're showing that integration, right? And then, of course, the client side is doing something that you're tracking, reporting, things like that, or server-side app insertion. That probably needs a little more deeper discussion, to be honest with you. On the Akamai edge, you got lots of ways to enable geo restriction. There are you can actually use GeoSpace or manifest directly from GeoSpace domain, or you can use through Akamai. So that will give you some options where you can do that. And also, GeoSpace itself, you can do besides server-side app insertion, you can do barcodes. You can do some server-side manipulation of the manifest to enforce the geo restriction. So depending on how you're thinking about it, thinking about denying the stream or blacking out part of the content based on geo, probably be different options to consider. And we'll do a longer discussion of it in the session.
Yeah, I think we are in time, so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just to conclude, so with AMP, you can actually take advantage of Akamai's, vast platform and wide range of services. You can reduce the complexity of your own development by leveraging a player that's already being used and tested. Leverage all the experience that our whole team has built so far, working with third-party providers and other services. And focus on your own development and doing what you do best, which is your business. So, yeah.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you for watching, paying attention.
The next one. Yeah, this is our contact information in case you want to reach out to us directly, and also our developer.akamai.com page.
Yeah. Or
yes.
our director, Frank.
Sample codes? Not at the moment. We have documentation and all, but if you contact us, we can easily provide that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two mailing lists at the bottom, it's the ones that we are currently reviewing. So you'll get the faster response there, or sending us an email directly to either one of us, whether Frank, which is our MDT director, or Miguel, Maverick, or myself. Yep. And if you want to see any sampling specific, we are still going to be in the meetup booth today and tomorrow. Right. So any other question, we can address it. And thank you, everybody, for paying attention.
Thank you.